Zach Berman covers the Birds, Philadelphia Inquirer, Philly.com. Tight on time, but kind enough to join us for a couple moments on a Thursday. How you been, pal?
And well, thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. We appreciate you jumping on board. It's funny because I guess everyone's always in this business, right? You got to scratch and claw for some type of storylines, especially when it's a little quiet, if you will, with the OTAs. I'm curious to get your thought on a couple things that I don't know a lot of people are talking about. So you look at the Eagles and some of the moves they made during the offseason and acquiring more offensive weapons in Smith and Jeffery, and then the Blount move, which I think is going to be a very sound under-the-radar move. With the signing of Smith and Jeffery, and we already know that Matthews is in place, do you suspect this kind of will try to light a little spark or fire under the fanny of one Nelson Aguilar to finally try to figure it out going into the season?
Well, I think it was actually made because Nelson Aguilar wasn't enough of a solution there, so to speak. So, they gave Nelson every opportunity last year to emerge into a starting receiver. It didn't happen. And so I actually think this is going to relegate Nelson more to the number 4 or 5 role than it is meant to kind of light a spark under him, because he has talent, but I don't know if he has the talent to be a starting receiver. He certainly hasn't demonstrated that yet, and he might kind of fit better in the role that they'll use him in. So I don't think the move was made to light a spark under Nelson. I think it was more to upgrade over Nelson.
Oh, no. I'm not suggesting the move was made to light a spark. I would just think from a player standpoint, you have to have a little pride. I mean, let's be honest. I think bust label is apropos for him because the production hasn't been there for where they drafted him several years ago. You would just think he's a young player. No matter what, you have to let your opportunity, you have to take advantage of some of your opportunities no matter what, because especially teams are going to get film on you regardless. I find it remarkable. I do, because he's one of those players you always talk about, right? We always use that cliche, the potential. How much the expectations of bringing in Jeffery and Smith, now you get some bigger targets, possibly stretch the field. I know they're not the players that they were several years ago, respectively, for their teams, but have they done enough from the wideout position? I mean, has it really opened up things more, you think, offensively? Will this be a bigger, a better upgrade than we've seen in years past?
Well, considerably so. I mean, Alshon Jeffery is a number 1 receiver in this league, and you can make the argument he's the best receiver they've had since Terrell Owens. Now,
wow.
Sean Jackson and Jeremy Maclin had really productive years for them, and so those would be the only 2 guys who would kind of be in that conversation. But when you look at the talent Alshon has, the size-speed combination,
yep.
I really think that he can be a difference maker for the Eagles, and that was more than an upgrade. It was the best receiver that changed teams this offseason, him and Brandon Cooks.
I look at the LeGarrette Blount move, and again, I don't see him coming in scoring 18 touchdowns over 1,300 yards, but here's the bottom line. How many times last year did they try to run Sproles up the gut? I mean, you go to the Washington game, even late the Lions game, the Giants game as well, the Dallas game. The Giants game on the 4th down, they were it looked like it was a keeper with Wentz, or they tried to roll Sproles off tackle for a couple yards. I mean, if anything, he gives them that short yardage back that they've been missing. And more importantly, this, Zach, a young quarterback's best friend is his ground game, right? And it's also his tight end. But what do you think LeGarrette's going to bring to this offense, and where do you see them utilizing him? Is he going to be the bell cow? Is he going to be a guy that's going to get 20 to 25 carries if need be, or they're going to mix him in with those other running backs and Sproles?
Yeah, a few points here. First off, he's not. I don't think he's going to be a 20-25 carry guy. I think, excuse me, he'll be part of a committee. Him and Sproles. Excuse me. Him, Sproles, Smallwood, and Pumphrey. So all 4 of them, but Blount will be an early down running back, short yardage and goal line running back. They need an upgrade from Ryan Matthews in short yardage situations. I don't think they need an upgrade from Darren Sproles. Darren Sproles had 8 carries on 3rd and 4th and short, and he averaged 4 yards a pop. So he's actually, and it's kind of a misconception about him because of his size, but he's been really effective, not just last year, throughout his career in short yardage and goal line situations. But LeGarrette Blount gives you a different type of player, a bigger back, a 250-pound back, and I think that he'll be the primary goal line and short yardage running back. I don't think this move is gonna. I don't think this move was made to fix the running game per se. I think he's a part of it. He's a one-year Band-Aid at that position. Ryan Matthews, they couldn't trust him with his health, and so he'll take Ryan Matthews' role from last year. But I don't think LeGarrette Blount comes in here and is the featured running back, so to speak. And frankly, they're not paying him to be that. If they brought him in to be featured back, he'd be at more than just over $1 million.
12:30 on Thursday, a couple minutes with Zach Berman. Does a great job covering the Eagles. Philadelphia Inquirer, Philly.com. Rich Quinones here. Give me your thoughts on Derek Barnett, impressions of him. I know Lane Johnson was pretty complimentary of the young player.
Yeah, I was real impressed with Barnett. In just that it was a limited amount of time I saw him in practice, so it was one session. But you can see the pass rush moves. You can see how refined he is there from that perspective. So I really think that he's not coming in to be a 15 sack guy this year.
Right.
I mean he's behind Vinny Curry and Brandon Graham right now, part of that 4-man rotation that they have with him and Chris Long on the second team. But if Vinny Curry does not play better, then I can see Barnett taking some snaps from him. Wow.
That's amazing when you think about it, when you add in the fact you're talking a rookie and then you're talking about a vet and the money that he signed for. How about the offensive line? I've been talking about it for the last several weeks. And, Lane Johnson, it was always the issue. Can you trust Lane Johnson? High draft pick. They gave him the money. Yeah, he got pinched for the PEDs twice. Peters isn't getting any younger. Sayamalo is going to get the starting snaps. So, when you look at that offensive line, step out for a moment and just kind of look at that line, handicap that line. Are you confident right now, as presently constructed, that they can hold up their end of the bargain throughout 16 games?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the strengths of this team, frankly. And, when Lane Johnson was on the field last year, it was a really good offensive line. And obviously the suspension really hurt the Eagles, hurt Lane. But a suspension is different than an injury in that I don't think you say someone's suspension prone, so to speak.
No,
so
you don't.
Clearly, they need him to stay out of trouble, if you will. But as long as he's on the field, you have two bookends at tackle there. They need better play from Jason Kelsey. He'll tell you that. Brandon Brooks played at a decent level last year when he was on the field, and so Brooks is the issue he was dealing with last year wasn't a football issue per se. It was off the field, and then Sayamalo they're real high on. But the aggregate of it, I think this is a strong offensive line. I think they have good depth. When you look at Barber, Wisniewski, potentially Chance Warmack, so I think that they can withstand injury at that position. I think when you look at the concerns of the Eagles, offensive line is not among them, in my opinion.
Fair point on that one. We'll take your word for it. How about the secondary? We know, right? That's the elephant in the room. You're looking at the cornerback position. Safeties are strong, but the cornerback, you go against some of these wide receivers in the NFC East, whether it's going to be Pryor. Now you've got Marshall, you've got Beckham, you've got Shepard, you've got Williams, you've got Bryant. I don't want to say on a scale of 1 to 10 because, again, it's only the last day of OTAs, so we've got a lot of time to talk about this. But, where would you kind of rank the worry factor on a scale of 1 to 10 with this secondary?
Well, with the corners, I think if 10's the highest, then you're at like 8 or 9, because it's a concern right now. Now they're hoping Rasul Douglas can develop well. They're hoping that Jalen Mills makes that jump from year 1 to year 2. Malcolm Jenkins thinks he can be a breakout player. They're hoping their pass rush is better, that it's the cornerback's best friend. But it's just that they don't have the proven talent on the back end right now. They're starting with Patrick Robinson and Jalen Mills. They got to wait, obviously, for Sidney Jones probably until next season. So you need patience there. They're going to take their lumps, and they've tried to plug that position in free agency in the past. They've had mixed results, so now they're going with the draft and develop, and you've got to be patient when you wait for Sidney Jones and Rasul Douglas to get healthy and develop.
All right, pal. Listen, I know we're pressed. Great stuff. I appreciate it. Moments. I kind of like that. I'm wondering if they're going to put it on the injury report that a guy's suspension prone instead of probable and questionable. Keep up the great work. We'll talk during the summer. Appreciate a couple moments.
No problem. Thanks.
All right, you got it, Zach Berman. Good stuff.